Picture this: a young mother, full of life, found naked and lifeless on her bathroom floor. Her name was Lori Malloy. Bruises marked her body, and her hair lay scattered across the room, as if torn out in a desperate struggle. March 7, 1993. What should have been an ordinary day in East Providence, Rhode Island, turned into a chilling mystery that still haunts us 3 decades later. The initial investigation left more questions than answers. Was Lori a victim of a violent crime, or was her death the result of a tragic accident? The medical examiner ruled it natural, blaming a heart condition, but the evidence at the scene told a very different story. Imagine the heartbreak of her family: a single mother stolen from her child, her case abruptly closed, her death labeled as unsuspicious despite the unsettling details. Could vital clues have been missed, or was someone trying to hide the truth? Today we revisit the case of Lori Malloy, a story filled with strange evidence, questionable decisions, and lingering suspicions. As we peel back the layers of this unsolved mystery, you'll be left wondering, was this a death that could have been prevented, or something far more sinister? Stay with me as we explore the haunting tale of Lori Malloy, where every detail could hold the key to justice, or more questions. Lori Lee Malloy was more than just a name in the headlines. She was a vibrant young woman, a devoted mother, and a cherished friend to those who knew her. Born and raised in East Providence, Rhode Island, Lori's life was filled with challenges, but she faced each one with remarkable strength and resilience. At 30 years old, Lori was a single mother working tirelessly to provide a better future for her young daughter. Despite the hurdles of single parenthood, those close to her described her as fiercely determined and full of life. Lori had a magnetic personality, the kind of presence that lit up a room. She had a unique ability to connect with people, making everyone she met feel seen and heard. Known affectionately as Sled Dog, a nickname that spoke to her tenacity and sense of humor, Lori was a fighter in every sense of the word. She was someone who didn't back down from challenges, whether in her personal life or her career. Her friends often said she had an infectious laugh and a warm smile that could brighten even the darkest days. Lori's life wasn't without its struggles, but she had big dreams for herself and her daughter. She juggled her responsibilities while striving for stability and a sense of normalcy. Those who knew her recall her love for simple pleasures, spending time with her daughter, enjoying music, and finding joy in the little moments of everyday life. But beneath her strength and determination, Lori carried burdens that others might not have fully understood. Like many young mothers, she worked tirelessly to balance the demands of parenthood and personal growth, navigating life one step at a time. On the surface, Lori seemed to have everything under control, but her sudden and tragic death left behind an eerie void, a young woman with so much potential, gone too soon. As we uncover the details of her life, we see not just a victim of a cold case, but a person whose story deserves to be told with care and respect. Who was Lori Malloy beyond the headlines, and what could have led to her untimely death? To answer these questions, we must look closer, not just at her life, but at the events that turned it into an unsolved mystery. March 7, 1993, a day that began like any other but would end in tragedy. Lori Malloy, a young mother living in East Providence, Rhode Island, was discovered lifeless in the bathroom of her modest apartment. The scene was both shocking and haunting, raising more questions than it answered. When officers arrived at Lori's apartment, they were greeted by an unsettling sight. Her body lay naked on the bathroom floor. The first responders were immediately struck by the peculiar state of the scene. Fresh bruises marked her arms and thighs, suggesting a possible struggle. But that wasn't all. Clumps of her hair were scattered around the apartment, as if torn out in desperation. One clump was found between her fingers, another wrapped around her toes, and yet another bizarrely entangled around her wrist like a bracelet. There were no clear signs of forced entry, no ransacked belongings, and no immediate indication of a break-in. However, the disarray of her hair and the bruises on her body hinted at something far more sinister. Was this the aftermath of a violent attack? Or could it have been an altercation gone horribly wrong? Investigators collected 14 pieces of evidence from the scene, including a tuft of light brown hair found near the front door. This single detail raised a critical question. Was someone else present in the apartment that day? Despite the peculiar evidence, there was an eerie lack of clear answers. Lori's bathroom, the heart of this mystery, held no signs of an obvious weapon or struggle, leaving the police to piece together what little they had. The autopsy report later described Lori's death as natural, citing a heart condition known as hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. But the medical examiner's conclusion didn't align with the unsettling details found at the scene. As the investigation progressed, more inconsistencies emerged. Why were the bruises and the scattered hair not adequately explained in the autopsy? Could these details point to foul play that was overlooked? The bathroom, once an ordinary part of Lori's daily life, became the center of an unsolved mystery. What happened in those final moments before her death? Was Lori the victim of a tragic accident, or was there someone else in that apartment who ensured she would never leave it alive? As we delve deeper, we uncover the investigative missteps and the unanswered questions that continue to haunt Lori Malloy's case. The initial investigation into Lori Malloy's death was fraught with inconsistencies and missed opportunities. From the moment law enforcement arrived at the scene, questions arose about how the case was handled and whether justice would ever be served. The East Providence Police Department initially treated Lori's death as a potential homicide. The bruises on her body, the scattered clumps of her hair, and the lack of any clear explanation for her death all pointed to a suspicious and possibly violent end. Investigators gathered 14 pieces of evidence, including the peculiar clump of light brown hair found near the apartment's front door. Despite these clues, the investigation soon took a puzzling turn. The autopsy conducted by the state medical examiner concluded that Lori's death was natural, attributing it to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a heart condition. This ruling was made despite the bruises and disarray at the scene. The medical examiner, whose license was later revoked due to multiple professional misconduct cases, failed to adequately explain key findings from Lori's body. How could the bruises and the apparent signs of a struggle align with the notion of a natural death? The police, relying heavily on the medical examiner's conclusion, quickly shifted their focus away from pursuing the case as a homicide. No follow-up investigation was conducted on the evidence collected, and critical leads were left unexplored. The clumps of hair, which could have been analyzed for DNA evidence, were never properly examined. Witnesses were not thoroughly questioned, and no suspects were identified or interrogated. The premature conclusion that Lori's death was natural effectively closed the case, leaving her family devastated and searching for answers. Her loved ones were adamant that the scene didn't match the medical findings, but their pleas for further investigation fell on deaf ears. The decision to treat her death as non-criminal left the evidence to gather dust and any potential justice for Lori to fade away. These investigative oversights not only stalled progress in Lori's case, but also deepened the mystery surrounding her death. Could the failure to thoroughly investigate the evidence have allowed a potential perpetrator to walk free? Or was it a case of systemic negligence that overlooked the truth? Whatever the reason, the initial investigation left a trail of doubt and frustration that continues to overshadow Lori's story to this day. For Lori Malloy's family, her death was not just a tragic loss. It was the beginning of a relentless fight for answers. From the moment they were informed of the medical examiner's ruling of natural causes, they were left with more questions than closure. To them, the bruises, the scattered hair, and the eerie condition of Lori's body didn't align with the conclusion presented. Her family, particularly her daughter and other close relatives, struggled to accept the abrupt closure of the case. They were determined to uncover the truth and pursued every possible avenue to have Lori's death re-examined. The first step in their journey was challenging the findings of the original autopsy. In the years following her death, It came to light that the medical examiner who performed Lori's autopsy had a history of professional misconduct. This revelation only fueled the family's belief that her case had been mishandled. The Malloy family petitioned law enforcement and legal authorities to revisit Lori's case. They provided detailed accounts of the inconsistencies they observed and emphasized the unexplored evidence, like the clumps of hair found at the scene. However, with decades passing and the evidence left untouched, their efforts often met resistance. Investigative inertia and bureaucratic hurdles repeatedly delayed progress. In 2020, nearly 27 years after Lori's death, the family's persistence led to a brief reevaluation of the case. Authorities, including the East Providence Police Department and the Rhode Island Attorney General's office, reviewed the evidence, but no significant progress was made. For the Malloys, it was another heartbreaking reminder of how easily cases like Lori's could be overlooked. Her daughter, now an adult, has taken a vocal role in the fight for justice. Through interviews, community outreach, and petitions, she continues to raise awareness about her mother's case. Her determination to uncover the truth serves as a poignant reminder of the long-lasting impact of unresolved crimes. The family's unwavering efforts underscore a fundamental question. How many other cases have been dismissed prematurely, leaving grieving families without answers? For the Malloys, Lori's story is not just about seeking justice for her. It's about ensuring no other family faces the same struggle. Their fight is a testament to the enduring power of love and the unrelenting pursuit of truth. The mystery surrounding Lori Malloy's death has given rise to numerous theories, each as chilling as the last. With evidence that raises more questions than answers, it's no surprise that speculation has run rampant over the years. One prevailing theory is that Lori was the victim of foul play. The bruises on her body and the clumps of her hair scattered across the apartment suggest a possible altercation. Could someone close to her have been involved? Domestic violence cases often leave such signs, and yet this angle was never fully explored by investigators. Another theory points to medical negligence. The medical examiner's ruling of natural causes has faced scrutiny, especially after their license was revoked for inaccuracies in other cases. Could Lori's death have been caused by an undiagnosed condition, or did the medical examiner overlook crucial details in their evaluation? Some speculate that Lori may have been the target of a random act of violence. The clump of light brown hair found near her front door raises the question, was there an intruder in her home that day? Without DNA testing or follow-up investigation, this potential lead remains a tantalizing but unanswered thread. Then there's the possibility of a tragic accident, an explanation that would align with the lack of external suspects or weapons. But how do we reconcile the bruises, the disarray, and the eerie state of her apartment with this conclusion? These theories offer glimpses into what might have happened to Lori, but none provide the closure her family so desperately seeks. What do you think happened on that fateful day in 1993? Could new technology, such as advanced forensic testing, finally bring the truth to light? Your perspective could help keep Lori Malloy's story alive. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Together, we may uncover the answers that have eluded investigators for over 3 decades. Lori Malloy's story remains a haunting mystery, a cold case that has left her family searching for answers for over 3 decades. A young mother with her whole life ahead of her, Lori's sudden and tragic death continues to raise unsettling questions. Was she the victim of a violent crime, a tragic accident, or was her case mishandled from the very beginning, leaving critical evidence unexplored and justice out of reach? The bruises on her body, the scattered hair, and the questionable medical ruling all suggest that there's more to this story than meets the eye. Despite the passage of time, her family's fight for justice serves as a powerful reminder that cases like Lori's deserve our attention, our scrutiny, and our voices. As we reflect on the details of her case, it's clear that the truth may still be within reach. Advances in forensic science, renewed public interest, and persistent advocacy can breathe new life into Lori's case. But that requires people like you, people who care about justice, who believe that no case should remain forgotten, and who are willing to keep Lori's story alive. What do you think happened to Lori Malloy? Was this a case of foul play, a tragic accident, or a failure of the system to deliver justice? Share your theories and thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss how we can raise awareness and ensure that Lori's case is not just another unsolved mystery, but a story that inspires change and accountability. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue to shine a light on cold cases and advocate for the justice these stories deserve. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and let's keep seeking the truth.